Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. I'm your host, Ashwin, back after being out for this last week. DJ's joining me, and at the time we're recording this, just because of the joy of how time zones work and when they're playing in the West Indies or in Florida in this case, Varun is not here this week. DJ, welcome to the show. Let me start by asking you about the title of this episode. Losing is good at times. Those are the famous words of Indian captain Hardik Pandya at the end of a pretty bad defeat, 3-2, losing to the West Indies, and we'll unpack all of it. But 5-match T20 series that ended in defeat for Team India. So losing is good at times. Your thoughts?
It sounds like something one of his predecessors as Indian captain would have said, and I think Hardik's modeled himself very much on MS Dhoni. Youngsters lack sparks. Losing is good at times. I'm waiting for him to say trust the process. That would be like the next level in this league. But yeah, it's I guess you find out more about yourself when you lose.
Yeah.
Failure is a stepping stone to success.
How many cliched quotes can we talk about where kabhi jeetne ke liye kabhi harna bhi padta hai, and this, and like how many cliched quotes could we come up with to justify or rationalize loss to a side that did not qualify for the ODI World Cup?
Yeah, but we lost in the T20s, and they're a good T20 side. They play all over the world. They are probably a much better T20 side. And Nicky P, when he came in,
as soon as he couldn't do the man of the series press conference. Do you see that?
Why?
Because he's gone run to catch another plane.
To get to the 100 or something. Where is he playing?
Yeah, I don't know where he's headed. But
are you joking? This is a joke, right?
No, he could not. He could not do the man of the series press conference because he had to leave to catch a plane. What? So they'll get comments from him later, is what it said.
Love it. I mean, love it. That's fair play, dude. Fair play. Short shelf life. Yeah, why not? I mean,
listen, when you and Varun last recorded, I think we were 0-2 in the T20, the first two T20s, and we got a little bit of feedback that you chose to ignore or focus too much on the ODI. So we're going to focus for the most of the show predominantly on the 5 T20s. Why we are talking about 5 T20s in a ODI World Cup year, why we're playing 5 T20s and we're 5 days away from 3 more T20s against Ireland, that I'm not sure. That you'll have to ask the scheduling officials at the BCCI. But let's talk about the 5 T20s. So DJ, just in summary of the series, Hardik Pandya as skipper, right? I haven't had a chance to look at all his detailed stats as skipper, so that's one thing I'd like to unpack. A couple of changes going in early in the series, but then I think 3 matches were consistent, the same playing 11. And a lot of debate on a few different things, which we'll talk. One of which is, how many bowlers do you need to play? What is the role of that all-rounder? What is Akshay Patel doing in this side? And
just holding the spot for Jadeja. I don't know. That's my answer.
So there's a lot. And Jadeja on Twitter, have you seen his Twitter game? He's walking around London taking pictures in the red photo, the phone booths, the old school British red phone booths and all. Just if you haven't checked.
So Jadeja's in London these days? I didn't know.
He's somewhere in England. Maybe it's not London. Okay. But, so you want to summarize just the course of the series? 0-2, 2 big wins, and then a loss in the finale. I guess that's basically it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess 2 close losses to start with. One which we should have really won with not too many wickets down, and I think we needed at one stage 37 of 30, which most of these guys would have just walked in their sleep. But then Hardik got out. Samson got a run out, which was a really bad look at that point, I guess. And then the West Indies chased another total. We put in a bit of a fight in the second game. There was a talking point around Chahal not finishing his spell. Now, Ashwin, you spoke a little bit about Hardik's captaincy. Of course, he is an IPL winning captain. He also went all the way this year to the final, only to be denied at whatever 1 o'clock at night or whatever it was that it finished. What do you make of his captaincy?
Man, I have to
probably start from there.
Yeah, his India T20 captaincy. Listen, full acknowledgement, disclaimer. It's never great to record after a loss. So,
and that's the point. If we recorded yesterday, this would have all been Gill and Jaiswal. That's all it would have been. It would be like the future is here. It's so great. I can see it happening now in front of my eyes. But now we've lost. one
we
day
should
later.
and we should acknowledge that. But you're sitting here saying the captain of the number 1 ranked side, how do you assess him when he lost to the number 7 ranked T20 side? And that's live, I think. So they may have been lower before this win, right? So I sit here and say, listen, I don't actually hold against him a 2-3 loss. I think the batters didn't show up. I don't think we had consistency in how the bowlers kind of used their spells, their wicket taking ability, etc. So I'll tell you what I struggled with. I struggled with a couple of things. One, we do not know what to do with playing 4 number 11s or bowlers who can't bat or all of that stuff, right? I think now they've come out and said, the Paris Bombers, the bowling coaches come out and said, expect Jaiswal or Tilak to bowl more. And of course, they both bowled today in the 50-20 match once it was already basically lost. So Hardik is struggling with that a little. The second thing, to be honest, I struggle with is what he said in the press conference was, I don't really plan or map out a lot of this stuff about my bowling changes and stuff. I go a little bit with gut, which is fine. Okay, which is fine for me. I'm okay with it. MS was a big gut kind of captain. He did a lot of research, a lot of planning analysis.
And that's not a pun on his weight. It's just like he's a
no,
big
absolutely not.
gut, big on
big
his gut.
Absolutely not. No, but I mean, you can't imagine that they had a planned strategy to bowl Joginder Sharma, right? In 2011, you just can't. That's a gut feel play. However, Akshar Patel, after Roston Chase bowled pretty well, I'm just talking about the 50-20. While Nikhil Puran is out there, Akshar doesn't get the ball at all. The minute he's gone, Akshar gets an over. That is not a gut-based decision. That's like cricket knowledge 101, Akshar versus the lefty who can get down on one knee and sweep. So as soon as the lefty was out, he gave him the ball. So either you have to go on your gut. I mean, I think an instinct-based captain would have said, we're losing this game. Let's try it, right? It's not going to, you can't lose it. Like whether you lose the match 3-2 with, if West Indies had chased it down with 3 overs to spare or 8 overs to spare, actually doesn't change much, right? There's no net run rate impact or anything. So that's what I struggle with. And sorry, I've ranted a little. I'm curious your take on stuff like that. I don't know if I see the majority of decision making yet in a world where you not only have to select your 11, you have to choose the role the bowlers play with the bat. The batters, you pick somebody who can bowl a little. What role does Akshar play? What role does he play himself? All of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean,
clearly I'm more passionate about this than I realized.
No, I mean, honestly, like when you said that why we're playing 5 T20s in a year where we don't have a T20 World Cup, the T20 World Cup is in the West Indies and the US next year. So this is an opportunity to find out a little bit about how your players would perform in those conditions.
Fair.
And to see how your spinners bowl. Kuldeep, I think, has done himself a world of good. We'll come to the marks out of 10 soon, but he's bowled brilliantly. He had Nicky P today given out as well, and it was overturned on review because it hit his glove. But coming back to the captaincy point, right? I actually don't mind Hardik that much as captain, because I think it's very difficult to plan out a T20 game. Things happen so quickly, things change in the matter of an over. So you have to almost step back from it, take a little bit out of the emotion out of it, and just, as you say, go with your gut. I mean, in that 2007 World Cup final, you mentioned bowling Joginder wasn't a plan. Yes, it wasn't a plan because Harbhajan had been smashed by Misbah for like 3 sixes in his last over. Harbhajan had 1 over left. So the calculated thing to have done would have been, okay, I'm going to back a guy who's won us a Border Gavaskar trophy off the back of it on his own, who's an experienced bowler. But then you've got to make that decision then, and you've got to be able to live with it. I mean, Mohit Sharma bowling that last over in this year's IPL. We talk about that moment where Hardik took time out of the game and slowed it down and had a drink of water, and then those 1-6 and 1-4 happened and the IPL was lost, right? But if it had gone a little bit differently, he would have been hailed as a genius, as like, oh my God, look what happened. If the thing had gone badly for Dhoni in 2007, we wouldn't have won the 2011 World Cup with him hitting that 6. He would have been out. He would have been out of the team because you've lost a World Cup final to Pakistan. He would have been he wouldn't have lived that stuff down. So you've got to have that confidence to captain in T20. And I think Hardik has that. I think that's what Hardik has to manage that group of players. And what I've really liked, and we'll come to it again, as I keep saying, the marks out of 10. What I like is this gives me the vibe of that 2007 team. You're seeing the youngsters starting to come through under a new captain who's okay to back his players. And so I know we've titled this losing is okay at times. Maybe it is okay at times. As you learn about your players, you learn about your team. And so I guess losing is good at times. Is that's where he's going with this. That we'll learn from these failures and we'll come back being a better team. There's no point having a Rohit and a Kohli doing the same thing over and over again. It's almost like where we were in 2007. The seniors, Sachin, Dravid, Ganguly, had decided to rest themselves from that seat, from that World Cup. That's when the Yuvrajes, the Yuvrajes, the Harbhajans, the Rohit Sharmas himself, the Gambhirs, the Dhonis all stood up, came out of their shadow. This reminded me a little bit of that, particularly in the fourth T20 when we saw Gill and Jaiswal and Tilak, the only three batters that batted. That is the future, right?
Yeah.
It was insane.
So
Yeah.
we'll come to Marks out of 10. There's a lot to, and that's a good way for us to cover to do it. Let me just ask you for a quick bold prediction. Call it 10 months out. Do Rohit and Kohli play the 2024 World Cup in the West Indies and the US?
So for me, I'm going to say no for Rohit because I don't think he's fit enough and I don't think he merits his spot as a batter.
So they're backing Pandya to be captain between all the way through that. Like Pandya will be captain
as you should. So for me, that yeah, and I think they should, and I think Pandya is captain of the 2024 World Cup next year, and that automatically puts Rohit out because you've got better batters than him at the first two spots. As you can see, the backup batter for India right now in T20s is Ruturaj. Yeah. He's the third. He's the third guy. Rohit's not in that conversation. Kohli is a bit more difficult, and I'm going to try and take some of the emotion out of this and look at this more rationally, right? I don't mind having a Kohli in the team because he's fit enough, so he's not going to be an issue in the field. But you've got to be flexible as to how you use him. If a wicket falls early send Kohli in, right? If you've got a partnership going, a 50-60, then you've got to send somebody else in. Maybe a Kishan or a Tilak or somebody else. But Tilak, I think, is the Kohli for his spot because you've got those batters who can do that job. So I wouldn't rule Kohli out completely. And it's a lot of it is down to the fitness. And this is all the work that he's put in over the last decade that's going to pay off now. At T20 World Cup, the IPL will actually tell you, right? Next day, if he has a good IPL, if he has as good an IPL as he had this year, I'd put him in that squad on the plane. Whether he plays or not, it's hard to keep a player like him out of the 11, right? You're not going to fly him into the West Indies and make him sit out. So that's the challenge. Equally, he could gracefully just say, I don't want to play T20 cricket. I'm happy with the ODI World Cup. I'm going to try and do 27 and stay fit for that. And I'm going to concentrate on Test cricket. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough, but I think Rohit, not for me. But Kohli, question mark still remains.
All right. I'm going to ask you one more question about Team India, and then we'll take a quick break and we'll do marks out of 10 in the second half. Number 8, call it number 8 and 9. Let's exclude 10 and 11 just for the sake of academic argument. Do you pick your number 8 and 9 that based on their ability to bat a little bit? Because let me start and answer it first, actually. Well, I've always said, I've said on this show many times, and maybe, I reserve the right to learn and get better and change. But what I've said so far is if you're picking your T20 number 8 and 9 for batting, I mean, it's 20 overs. That means your 7 have failed, right? If you're picking your 8 and 9 to be better batters, your 7 have failed and you deserve to lose that game. You win matches based on taking wickets, all that stuff. I am starting to see, though, that the most successful sides more and more have an 8 that is a bowler who can bat a little. And we've talked about this a lot. And we've talked about what options do you get if you have batters who can and bowl. And now this week in the media, it started coming up what you and I've been saying, or you, me and Varun have been saying for a while, that we went from Sachin, Dada, Sehwag, Yuvraj, Raina being probably your top 5 at some points, all of who could bowl, to having a top 5 where nobody basically bowls, and that puts added pressure on the bowlers and this all-rounder slot. So just team composition question: do you pick your number 8 and 9 on their ability to bat?
I think for tournaments you should, because For bilaterals, you'll probably get away with it because they may not play. They may not get a bat in every game. But in that tournament game where you have a stutter, you do want that guy to come in at number 8 and do it. And I was actually thinking about this again. I mean, we've had this whole like unidimensional versus multi-dimensional debate many times, right? And it's different ways of playing T20 cricket. The West Indies for many years had like Sammy, Bravo, Carlos
Yeah.
Brathwaite, Jason Holder himself. I'm probably missing 2 or 3 other names that did exactly the same thing. They were all like
Pollard.
seam bowling all
Yeah.
rounders, medium pacers, right? Like, I'm actually starting to think there may be a universe in which we play both Akshar and Jadeja in the side because yes, they're both left arm spinners, but they are a little bit they're different enough for you to not like put them in the same slot. We've just assumed that Akshar is a replacement for Jadeja. He's a
Point out.
great player in his.
B Jadeja B version or B list.
Yeah, I mean, he's the B side of Jadeja, right? And like, I mean, sometimes the B side is quite good, so you should listen to the songs on that one as well. Okay, I've
So,
made a
but-
cassette reference, which half our listeners don't even know what
That's
that is.
great. I love it. So,
Yeah.
but here's the thing: you're an all-rounder when you play Sunday League cricket, right?
Mm.
Why is the expectation that a bowler needs to be able to bat? And we're cool with saying, yeah, our top 5 guys never bowl. They're completely unidimensional, completely. Right? To put fielding aside, because the bowlers are expected to be good fielders these days too, right?
Mm.
Why is it that 5 batters? That's fine, but if you're bowling if you're one of 3 specialist bowlers, you have to be good at batting, otherwise you
Yeah.
lose your spot. It's crazy, right?
So the issue is there that everyone has to bat, but not everybody has to bowl.
Everybody
Because
doesn't have to bat. If your 7 guys can't survive 120 balls, then why are you saying I'll pick my bowler on?
but often the guy that's coming in at number 8 needs to get you like 12 of the last over, right? That's usually where the guy's coming in. And you've had a low scoring game where the batters have failed. And so you need someone like, and I don't want to say it, but you need someone like a Shardul Thakur who can get you those runs in that crunch situation in that one game in the tournament where you've struggled, right? And so, but that's why I was trying to get at. Why can't we play?
to 11? Like how many pure bowlers can you afford? Is it 1? Is it 2?
So I think 2. And I think in our case, that is where the way we play, it's Bumrah and probably in T20, Arshdeep. Probably.
I was going to say Chahal, but because Chahal can't bat at 9. By this
Yes,
logic.
but my question is, do you need a wrist spinner, or can you play is in Akshar a good enough bowler for you to play him in T20 cricket? Do you have to have a wrist spinner? I mean, and the option is great, right? But it's T20 cricket. The bowlers are fodder. Anybody can go for 60 runs in their 4 over spell, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here and seeing that Kuldeep and Chahal took 11 of our wickets in the series.
correct. But Akshar hardly bowled. So
Okay,
you
fair.
can't really
Yes,
tell
okay.
how many runs he would have got or given or wicket he would have taken, right? So that I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. This whole matchup thing, I get it, but who's to say he wouldn't have got Nicholas Pooran just hitting a ball up? There are off spinners that have bowled to right-handed batsmen and got them out before, and similarly, left-arm slow bowlers get left-handers out a lot. So this is all fine, but cricket is not played in Excel sheets. It's not played on like computers, right? It's played on the field, and
It's not played behind microphones while you record.
yeah, but
whether losing
yeah,
is good.
and criticizing the world's best players as we do. But this is what I was trying to get at is there may be a world where you might want to play Akshar and Jadeja in the same side. Why not? Why not? We just don't think about this because we think we need that wrist spin of Kuldeep. We need Chahal. But why not play your best 11 players?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Kuldeep and Chahal make your best 11. But
They could. They may well.
that's a different discussion. As tends to happen, DJ, after last we've done what we thought we would do out of this episode, but it's great. Hopefully people are enjoying listening to it. Why don't we take a quick break and we come back and we will actually this time go through the 13, 14 guys who played this tournament, and we will be right back. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast, where we are trying to digest that losing can be good sometimes. So let's talk about it. DJ.
Ashwin, there's one more comment that's come in from Randomly Systematic online, by the way.
Yeah.
And he's mentioned Washington Sundar as an option.
Yeah? Yeah, we
He
had
would
him
balance that side out quite nicely, don't
absolutely.
you think? Off spinner.
Absolutely. But I think, and again, I want us to keep moving, but I do think this is one, it's an example of where, what is he being picked for? Is he being picked for balance? Is he being, because he could, there's a time when he could be, when he merited being picked as an opening bowler. There's a time when we thought he would have the prowess to be picked as a batter. Like, where are you picking him for? Are you picking him for, I want 2 overs and the ability to hit 8-10 runs if you need it in the last over every game? I think for me, it's about roles.
Mm.
And I think he could help with balance a lot, though.
Yeah, it's tough, right? It's tough. You've got to pick a direction and then you've got to stick with it. But anyway,
All right, let's talk about the guys who actually did play and assessing. So I'm going to start. Actually, we had a couple of different openers, but our openers in the first games were Kishan and Gill. Before then, Jaiswal came in. So Kishan played 2 matches, made 33 runs, averaged 16, strike rate of 103.12, got dropped. And so let me start with Kishan. Marks out of 10 from you, DJ. And the way we'll do this is just give me a score. I'll give you my score, and then just a quick couple of lines about it so we can keep moving.
I don't know, 4 hours enough. I think he had a great tour overall. T20, not so much, just because he didn't do enough, I guess. But
And so
ODI and
we're just assessing the
just
T20s, I would
T20.
say.
Yeah,
I think that's the easiest way to do this.
yeah.
So,
I think 4 out of 10.
yeah, I
Not
agree.
a
I think he
great.
had an opportunity to try to cement his pace in the shorter format now, but I think 2 matches is not quite enough. So I'll with you on the 4. Let me jump down in the order and address the guy who did not don the gloves for the first 2 games, but then did for the next 3 and played more matches than Ishan Kishan
Didn't
and scored less
get to
runs.
bat.
No, he
We
scored
didn't
less
get to
runs.
bat though. How many
He
innings did he
batted
have?
3 times. He's batted one
Okay,
extra
fine,
time. Made
fine.
32. No, wait. In the first match he batted, got run out like you mentioned at 12 of 12. Second match he batted, got stumped on the bowling of Akil Hussain, 7 of 7.
Where
Then he
did he
batted
bat
the
in the
third.
second? Where did he bat in the second game though? Number 4,
Second game he batted at 5,
5.
which is
Okay.
what he would have been in the game
Okay. Yeah.
for.
Fine.
And then today, obviously, he batted at 5, made 13 off of 9 before getting out to the keeper. So thoughts on Samson? I mean, I'll go first. I think Samson in this series, unfortunately for me, was like a 2 out of 10. I think again a keeper fighting
I'll
for
give
his
him.
place.
I'll give him a
Yeah.
3.5 because he took some good catches. He took a really good catch of Arshdeep in the fourth
Okay.
game.
I'm
I
curious to
think
know if that's
Mayers.
going to be, because we're doing this on the fly. But I'm curious to know if
Yeah.
3.5 is going to be your lowest, or there's anybody who had a worse series than Samson in terms of scores on the year.
I don't know yet. We'll
Okay.
find out. We'll find out. But I would have liked him to take us across the line. I think the one that stood out for me was that run out, and I was like, that is just poor cricket.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the time for you to really like step up, and he did.
Okay, we're going back up to the top of the order. So Kishan gets dropped. Jaiswal comes in off the back of a pretty fantastic, obviously great year in T20s at the IPL, and then a pretty fantastic start to his international career. Single-digit score, match-winning knock, single-digit score. That was his 3 matches. So now I want to know what you give him out of 10 in that one.
I'm going to give him a 7 because that man of the match performance in the fourth game was just it was so refreshing to just see him just play. And he didn't care whether like he was hitting it in the air or whether they were fielders or whatever. It was just adrenaline fueled brilliance. I think he got a duck in his first T20 game actually.
Mm-hmm.
It,
He made one.
He made one. Okay,
Made one. Yeah.
he did make a duck. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but that's just how he plays it. He's played the entire IPL that way. Nearly won the I want to say the orange cap. When it's not
Orange is
IPL
batting,
season,
yeah.
it's quite hard to remember this
You
stuff.
don't remember any of it.
But he nearly won the orange cap for his exceptional batting, and he just played like the same way. He took his Rajasthan Royals teammate Jason Holder apart in 1 over. It's just great to watch, and he seemed to enjoy batting with Shubman. I'm sure we'll come to next. So I'm going to give him 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him 7.5 out of 10. I think it could have easily been an 8.5. He had a great year. I just think full credit. The reason I'm slightly higher than you, I think, is because I give him credit for finishing that match. It goes a long way in my ratings if you can stay there and get your team over the line. And so I'll give Yashasvi a 7.5 out of 10. I wish he didn't have 2 failures out of 3, excuse me, but but I give him the 7.5. And then let's come to the other opener then. So now I look at this and say, Shubman Gill, if we had recorded this at the end of the fourth T20, which we could have, would have the energy and the tone would have been very different. At least we're self-aware about this. Our listeners have to give us some credit for that. But Gill, again, 4 single-digit scores. And then 177, I think it was, where he made in partnership with Jaiswal. I think they tied the highest T20 eye-opening partnership for India, but got out right before the end. And so I think you sit there and say 77 from 47. However, he only made 102 in all 5 innings, average of 20, strike rate of 120. I think this was despite the match-winning knock. I think it was a 4.5 out of 10 for Gill for me this series. What about you?
Yeah, I think probably 5 for me, because I give him the extra point for his classy looking shots. And even the one he got out to in the fourth fourth T20 was like a lovely flick shot which went to the fielder. But it's just, and his catching was good. That slip of Kuldeep as well. Yeah, he struggled on those pitches. And there was a lot of chat about, oh, these guys' numbers in Ahmedabad and these guys' numbers outside Ahmedabad. He can only bat on good tracks. I don't know, man. You can filter stats anyway, right? Like if you want to take out all the runs at Chennai from Sachin's career, like how many thousand test runs are you going to take out from there? It's like stop filtering stuff to like just make arguments.
The selective filtering is a little silly.
It's too much. It's too much. So anyway, he's but it is exciting when he comes off, and he seemed to feed off the Jaiswal energy, which I liked, because I think he feeds off his partners a lot. Like when he batted with Kohli in the tests, it felt like that. When he was batting with Rohit in the test matches, felt like that. And that partnership felt very much like a joint effort, that they were going matching stroke for stroke. But anyway, 5 out of 10 for Gill, unfortunately.
So Jaiswal flies to Ireland, I guess, nowadays. So does Tilak, and then Gaikwad joins him. Sundar is in that lineup. I was just looking through where Bumrah's captaining. Gill does not go. I mean, there's an element of he's now a starting test cricketer, so it's balanced. But do you think they're assessing alternate T20 openers at this time just to get a feel for if Gill is going to focus on Test and ODIs?
Like they might. They might be. Okay. I think they'll be looking at Rituraj pretty closely.
All right, let's go.
And how he does on that tour.
Let's go to number 4. And he batted 3 in 1 game, so it's technically cheating. For me, I mean, 9.5, maybe. Just because I don't, 9.5 out of 10. Of course, I'm talking about Tilak Verma.
So
I think full marks, right? India's highest run scorer in the series. I mean, outscored by Puran and King, but that is because of how badly we did as a team. Average of 57.6 at a strike rate of 140.6. I mean, runs in the first game, half century in the second, runs being 39. Missed out on the half century in the third, which was
49 not out,
by the way, where Hardik chose to hit the winning runs and didn't let him get it. Didn't need to do anything in the fourth, but not out. Saw the team over the line. And then one of the only 2 guys who scored today in the 5th game. So full marks?
Yeah, 9.5. 9.5 for a debut series. Yeah, I mean debut series. And I mean, like, wow. I just looked at him and gone, this guy should just and now everybody's also saying it. So we hear them, but like I said, we should put Tilak into the World Cup squad. All of a sudden, everybody's talking about putting Tilak into the World Cup squad.
I mean,
it's
I think
amazing.
He should be considered. I don't know if I fast track somebody off of an ODI after a T20 series into an ODI squad. That's the part that makes me nervous. But I think we should be trying him in ODIs. I agree.
Definitely.
And then you have to also acknowledge to the full first half of this show, Nicholas Puran basically was one of 2 guys who won the game for them today, but Tilak Verma got him out.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying he didn't look like he has the ability to be an all-rounder or even necessarily a part-time bowler yet. But if he can do that, he's been bowling in the nets a lot, along with Jaiswal. If he can start giving 2 overs, suddenly you've potentially fast-track him in.
But that temperament, man, like that temperament to play with a cool head in an IPL team like the Mumbai Indians, in an Indian T20 squad, I think that's what I see as being getting him into the ODI squad, because he brings a sense of calmness to the game. And as you say, he brings that additional, like he can bowl. Jaiswal, I think, used to bowl leg spin, if I'm not wrong, from his under 19 days. Yeah. Remember the World Cup where they had that big fight with Bangladesh at the end? as a captain in that game. He is a
Yeah.
captain in that tournament, but he took a lot of wickets with his leg spin. So
Hmm.
he should be
And
doing that
he
now.
bowled in the fifth T20. That was fun to watch. I mean, it was right at the
Yeah.
end, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think what happens to these batters is they want to get so good with the bat that they stop
Yeah.
like bowling in the nets, and that's we've talked about it. The dog thrower thing comes
Hmm.
in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that you have to get so good at the one skill that you're being picked for that you stop
Not if
having
you're a
fun with
bowler,
the
though.
others. Correct,
This is what's
correct,
crazy to me. Anyway,
correct.
we don't
But
have
because
this.
it's a bonus if a batter can bowl, right? Whereas a bowler must at least hold a bat now because he will be called upon.
Yeah, that frustrates me to no end. But let's keep it going. And I sort of skipped a guy who batted at number 3, and he was just shy of being a highest run scorer. Arguably, he didn't bat in one innings. And I'm talking about Surya Kumar Yadav. So average of
Yeah.
41.5, strike rate of 147, better than Tilak even. I mean, he had that one magnificent. I think it was 83 odd. He made 20 in one innings, and then he made a 61 in today's game in the fifth T20. But also then he had a couple failures. I don't know. I would probably give him 8, 7.5, 8.
Yeah, 7.5. I mean, it would have been higher if we'd won today. So maybe we are colored by that a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
Because if we had won today, the 61 would have been a great score. But
But
clearly, it
it's
was
60,
nowhere close to
61 or
enough.
45. I think we've had this debate a lot on this show too, right? It's not Sky's typical innings. It's not, he strikes at 135, but well below his career average, well below his average for the series even. But where nobody else stood up and batted,
Mm,
you can't hold it against him. You hold it against the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who made single digits.
yeah.
Or
Wow. That
6 guys
that's
who made, right?
that's pretty
Some of them
pretty
were
harsh.
bowlers, but still. So, all right, but
Yeah.
good to see Sky back, right? That you have
Yeah,
to.
man. He
He
just like
acknowledged in an interview too that his ODI form hasn't been, or his ODI results haven't been as good as he
mm,
wanted.
mm,
However, he's a T20 master.
yeah. Number one batter in the world. T20.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he's actually a backup captain if Hardik were to get injured. I can't see anybody else captaining that side
well, because
other
nobody else
than
really
other than
walks
Sky.
into the squad, right? If unless
Yeah.
and if you can't count on Bumrah being full fitness, nobody else walks
Yeah.
in.
And that's the challenge to get a Kohli into that side as well, right? Like
Hmm.
if Sky is going to be that senior player, are you going to bat him 4 or are you going to bat him 3?
Hmm.
Like, and you can't really bat Kohli any lower than 4.
Yeah.
And if you got getting Tilak and all these guys, and it's tough. But yeah, class act, man. And great in the field as well, taking all those catches. Love it.
All right, skipper. Let's mark him not for his captaincy, but for his batting and bowling. Okay, just for a
Okay.
second.
Okay.
77 runs in 4 innings, average of 25, strike rate of 110. And he acknowledged in the press conference again after the fifth T20 that India struggled because he couldn't accelerate when he walked in. And then I think one match he didn't really bowl much. He bowled 15 overs across the fives, 4 wickets across the 15 overs. He bowled average of 31.5. I mean, 4 for 126 and 15 overs are his numbers. Where do you rank him?
Probably six ish. Because it's good to see him getting through his spell for the ODI World Cup point of view.
Agreed. Agreed.
But he wasn't. You could see he wasn't giving it everything.
Hmm.
But he's competitive. He's bowling again. He's batting. He's in the field. I think it's okay. I think he's getting back to his best. He's not quite back to his best, where he was just hitting sixes at will. His game has changed. He's become more conservative with some of his batting. Uh, but what we would like to see is that Hardik Pandya can just switch back to that beast mode, which has been missing for a while. So yeah,
So for
I'd
me,
say
actually,
five or six, maybe a five actually, not
for me,
even a
closer
six.
to 4. I'm being a little harsher. You're more generous than I am.
Mm.
I sit here saying run a ball basically every innings. He did give him points for finishing the game, which he took away from Tilak, but that's fine. I sit here saying actually if you look at like impact, right? He picked up one for where did it go? 1 for 27 in the first match, which we lost. Then he picked up 3 for 35 in the second match, which we lost, and then went wicketless in the next 3. right? So from a bowling standpoint, I'm happy to see him completing his overs. He only bowled one over in the third match. Just and so okay, let me ask you then. Maybe I'm not able to separate it out. If you add in captaincy as one of the things he was responsible for, does the score go up, go down, or stay flat at 5 for you?
I'd probably give him half a point to captain. I'd
Half
go
point
up,
more.
yeah, because
Interesting. I
captain, man. Like,
Of course
and
it
you were
is.
2-0
Yeah.
down. You bounce back. I mean, that takes character. But it was 17 for 2. Yes, it was a special innings from Sky, but you've got to back your players, right? Sky
Right.
was under
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah.
And it's that backing of players which I think he prides himself on doing that even for Gujarat. So I don't know. It's a hard job. Um, he didn't make all the right decisions, but good for him to learn now. He will learn from these mistakes. And you know what they say, Ashwin? I mean, losing is good at times.
At times.
That
Yes.
like
Who's
wise
cool?
people say that.
He said that himself.
So
You're
you
allowed
don't
to be
mind.
cool.
We don't care about losing in a bilateral. We don't want to win any more PTM trophies. Oh yeah, it's okay. That's what he's getting
I
at.
I
This
That's
is the
fine.
underlying.
Yeah. I'm okay with that part. I don't think I think you need to have a healthy dissatisfaction. Right?
Oh, I
I
think
think
he does. I think he's a
okay.
I think they're all
Yeah.
quite
Sure.
competitive. I don't. The one thing I would not put Hardik is as a guy who's chilled about losing.
Fair.
I don't think
Fair.
Hardik will deal well with losing generally in
That's
life.
fair. Okay. We're gonna start getting down to the bottom half. I'm gonna quickly just gloss over Ravi Bishnoi. One match. I forgot he played for until I was starting the
Even
sixth
I
test, to
didn't
be
remember
honest.
what did he
4 overs,
do.
0 for 31, just because Kuldeep was
That's
injured. So
really
fine. No, and we'll mark it as
memorable. Poor
NA in
guy.
the spreadsheet. Let's
Yeah.
go to the guy we started talking about, who you think should walk into this side, but or potentially be played as in addition to Jadeja. But he bowled 11 overs, 2 for 66. It's okay, and
That's
he
6 runs
made
and over in a T20.
fine. Yeah, that's good. That's
That's
fine.
really good. That's a
That's
run a
fine.
ball.
Fair.
And he hardly bowled.
Yeah, that's fair. And then he batted 3 innings, made 40 runs at a strike rate of 121. So marks out of 10.
But him under Jadeja, it's okay.
2 overs not. I'm just looking through the specifics because he was 2 overs not for 22. Didn't bowl in the second match. 4 overs, 1 for 24. Good spell there. 4 overs, 1 for 39. Expensive. And then in today's game, the fifth game, he bowled 1 over not for 8. So is that math doesn't really seem like it adds up to me. But anyway, keep going. What are
It
your
doesn't
thoughts?
sound like it adds up to me
Well,
either.
1 for 39. 1 for 39 and 4. 1 over 0 for 8. 1 for 24 and 4. Didn't bowl. And then 2 overs not for 22. So it should not be something is broken in this Crick Buzz stats column. I don't think he was 11 overs for 66.
Whoops.
But anyway,
It doesn't sound right.
it doesn't sound right because he only had one match at 6 runs an over. Everything else was higher.
Yeah.
So,
It can't
anyway.
be. It can't have an average of 6.
Well, that's great. Something is broken in my stats. So if I've been giving you incorrect stats all series about the entire series, somebody write in and let us know. But DJ Marks
Or
out of
write
10
to
for
Craig
Bishnoi.
Buzz. It's better. Don't
Yeah.
write into us.
I'm trying to quickly pivot to a different site to just check if I'm looking at it right. But why don't you keep going?
Yeah. So I think he had a good. I think he had a good series generally. I think I'd give him a 6. I'd give. He didn't do himself any harm. And it's good he's got more experience in the West Indies. He played well last time. He's played a bit more here. More cricket under his belt in the West Indies is good for Akshar. I think we should think about him maybe opening the bowling or something in the West
Yeah.
Indies.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
And keep a Bumrah for like a Malinga role, like 12, 14, 16, 18 type.
Yeah. Okay, I was looking at the wrong column. I don't blame Craig Buzz. He bowled 66 balls, which
Human
is 11
error.
which is 11 overs. Why do you have a separate column for overs and balls? Of course, 11
So he
overs.
bowled 66 balls.
11
And how many runs
overs,
did he give
2
away?
for
80,
93.
80 something, 93. Yeah.
That's a substantially
8 and
different
over.
stat.
Yeah.
All right.
But 8 and over still okay-ish. I mean, like,
My biggest complaint is that you have separate columns for overs and balls. That makes no sense.
okay, right into Craig was, I think.
Yes. All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but he had a decent knock today, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got a few runs today.
Mhm.
How many did he get? No, he hit 1-6, 13 of 10.
All right.
Okay,
So
six-ish,
men for me,
five-ish,
five and
six-ish.
a half out of 10.
Middling,
Just
middling.
very, very middling. Very
Yeah.
middling. Doesn't say go home, get back. It's almost better to have either a horrendous series, go back, work on your game, figure out what you want to do, and come back. It was not a slam dunk, break the door down to walk into
Mm,
the squad. It's again like, okay, he'll be on the fringes, and so that was a frustrating
mm.
type of series for me. All right, I'm going to try to get the stats better this time. Let's go through the bowlers then. Let's start with the two spinners, ex Bishnoi, Kuldeep and Chahal, right? Kulcha. Nice to see Kulcha bowling again.
Kulcha.
Kuldeep, I'm reading the right columns this time. 4 matches, 16 overs, 6 for 92. So he gave less than 6 runs an over. Had a couple of great spells. And just, I felt like when he did actually get a wicket that got reversed, he got a wicket in his first few balls every match.
It was awesome.
So it
It
felt
was
like high
awesome to
impact
watch.
bowling. And then Chahal, 5 matches, 18 overs, 5 for 163. So a lot more expensive.
That's nearly 9 and over.
9.5 an over. So yeah. Or yeah, just over nine
That's
an over.
expensive.
So I'm impressed with that mental math, dude. Varun will be proud of
Yeah,
you. All right.
yeah.
So marks for those two? I know you've already questioned
Kuldeep,
restraint.
fantastic. What a series he's had. So I think he's actually ahead of Chahal at the moment in the stakes.
Yeah.
As if we need a wrist spinner, he can bat a bit better than Chahal. Not much better, but a bit better. He's got a 40 odd in
Mm-hmm.
Test cricket as well once.
Mm-hmm.
And that confidence is back, right? That he lost, and they are such confidence bowlers. These guys that it's good to see. So I would give Kuldeep 9 out of 10. I thought he had a magnificent series.
No
He's
debate. No
averaging
debate.
like
Absolutely.
15, less than a run a ball. He's got Nicky P, who's basically man of the series in the
Yeah.
palm of his hand.
Yeah.
Even today, he would have had him out if there was no DRS.
Yeah.
Just beautiful,
Yeah.
great to watch.
Fully agree. I mean, and quick sidebar, today's umpiring was horrendous. I think there was 3 or 4 decisions overturned by DRS, and anyway, pretty horrendous umpiring today. And then Chahal. So you already said that. Sorry. So for me, Kuldeep 9, Chahal probably a 6.5 out of 10. I think you walk in expecting Chahal will be a wicket taker, but you also expect he'll be expensive, especially on some smaller
Mm,
ground. And I think he just didn't have quite as much of an impact with wickets
yeah,
as
but,
you
but
thought. So
Chahal also thrives when you've got lots of runs on the
mhm,
board, right? Like if you're in
mhm,
Chinnaswamy or you've got like a
mhm,
Joss Butler smashing it everywhere in
mhm.
in, in Rajasthan. It's a bit different when you've got like you're defending like 160 or whatever. How many did he give away today? And
Today,
what was
Chahal
wickets
was
like?
4 overs not for 51. So that's tough,
Yeah,
right? Giving
yeah, it's
away,
bad day in the
it's a
office.
bad day. All right, and let's talk about the two quicks, Arshdeep and Mukesh. And I think obviously Pandya we talked who doubled as
Mm,
the third quick. I think you started this episode before we started saying I don't exactly know what to say about Mukesh. So I'm gonna ask you, Arshdeep was India's highest wicket taker, 17 overs, 7 for 156. So again, a little expensive, if you will,
mm.
but 7 wickets, average of 22 or so, not too shabby, and sort of brought back some of what he thought what we selected him for in the first place. And then Mukesh, 12 and a half overs, 3 for 113. So again, 8.5, 9 and over, 3 wickets, but pretty clinical with those Yorkers at the end. I think Mukesh, for me, struggled with lack of role clarity, if I will, and that's more feedback on the captain than on the bowler.
Yeah,
So
there was one game he bowled in like the 18th or the 19th
yeah,
over or
his first
something.
over, his 1 over, only one,
Yeah.
right?
And if you're a new ball bowler, that's like an insult to you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
When you're bowling to like number 9 or whatever.
yep. So
No,
so Marks,
Arshdeep, I think, let's say top wicket taker, but he was expensive. But then you are going to be an expensive bowler if you're bowling in the power play and at the death, right?
hmm
That's going to be your job to take wickets, and you will give away runs. So if you're going at what 8.5, how much is that? How much you go at?
he
17
went at
overs,
9.1.
150,
Sorry.
9.1. Okay,
hmm
it's it's not the best economy rate, but you can see why he's gone there because of it's a function of when he bowls.
Yeah,
And the West Indies have a loaded top order, and they do go hard all the way to the end. So if
yeah,
you've got like an Obaid McCoy, or you've got like an Odean Smith or like a Robman Powell coming in lower down the order, you've still got big hitters, even they've got rid of the Kyle Mayers and the Nicky P's at the top. So I would give Ashdeep a 7, or maybe it's 7. Yeah, 7. He is the
Yeah,
top wicket taker.
yeah.
Not an outstanding series, but Mukesh, man, and you outed me a little bit because I don't know what to say.
Hmm.
Because when Bumrah comes back, and I mean, for some reason now Prasidh Krishna has become the greatest bowler that we have as well.
Hmm.
Be thinking he's going to come back, but like he's where is he in the pecking order? You've got um, Bumrah,
Hmm.
Shami,
Hmm.
Siraj. You've got maybe Shardul Thakur ahead of him as well as a
Hmm.
seeming all rounder. Deepak Cheher, where is he? Bhuvaneshwar, forget, but he's not going to bowl. But you've got like an Avesh Khan. Where's he
Yeah,
disappeared?
he's going to Ireland.
You've got Harshal Patel.
Yeah,
Where's he gone? I mean,
and then
Mukesh.
Arshdeep and Prasid, who you didn't mention in order.
Yeah,
Like
Arshdeep,
so.
but for me, like, where's the when he looks at his future,
Yeah,
right? Where is he playing his next Test match or his next ODI or his next T20 other than for like the Delhi Daredevils? And I think he plays for UP maybe.
and you know how old he is?
How old is he?
29. So like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what?
Why aren't you playing
I
an
don't
Umran
understand
or
it.
bring it in? Like, why didn't they play Umran this series? Why aren't you playing? Why aren't you play?
It's
I don't
just
get it.
so hard.
If you're rank ordering your 10th best bowler, which I think you counted maybe 9 or 10, your 10th best quick bowler, excuse me. What is the point of playing a 29-year-old? I mean, credit to him, he had a decent international. He was one of the fastest to make their debut across all three formats in the
Yeah,
international scene.
within a
But
few days, like two
yeah, one of
weeks.
the
He actually
one
plays for
of the sure.
Bengal, not UP. Correct myself.
Yeah, he plays for Bengal, and but he's 29 years old, man. He's almost 30. He turns 30 in 2 months, right? So what do you? What's the objective? But anyway, maybe this is a maybe
No, but
Mukesh will be
he's
like,
not really like. Do you what is you want to pick? Like we see something special right in the player, and I don't want to do him down. But like
hmm
obviously he's a very good bowler, and he's done well in the test, and he bowled decently. And but like there's no extra pace, there's no extra swing, there's
do
no
you want to
seam.
do you want to see
He
what Crickbuzz's description of him is?
what is it?
A cookie cutter right arm seamer who can
Oh
lift
my
the ball
god!
both ways. Like that's the description on Crickbuzz right now.
Ouch!
That's not great, man. And then there is more. And a lucky break in 2014 meant Mukesh Kumar got shortlisted in the state
Ouch!
trials. Like
No, I
there,
mean that's all a
it's
bit
harsh.
harsh. I
It's
mean
harsh. Fully
he's
agree.
playing international cricket. That's hard, and he's done the hard yards to get there,
Yeah.
and he deserves to be there. But like, what is the message you're going to send to him after this tour of the West Indies? Like, this guy's
Yeah.
probably looking forward to like international cricket and being an international cricketer.
Yeah.
Now,
But you
where is he
had
going to play next?
again, you had Avesh and Umran on the bench in the West Indies and in the US, and you picked Mukesh over him.
Yeah,
So anyhow,
I mean, those guys can't be bowling that badly in the nets, right?
yeah, I think Hardik's merits. I guess he merits praise for his I will back my players and stick to them and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
what's the objective of playing Mukesh? Right. DJ,
tough.
we've gone longer than we expected to. It
Yeah,
happens, I
on
think,
a T20
on a
series, very
T20
interesting.
bilateral. So if you're still listening, thanks for staying with us. Hopefully the stats confusion didn't throw you off too much and you enjoyed hearing the marks out of 10. DJ, by the time we're back next, I think India is going to have played Ireland. And so really not that much exciting stuff happening, but we have a lot of fun debates ahead of us as we lead into the ODI World Cup. Marks out of 10, it was a fun way to do it. So maybe we'll replicate this format again. I think we once did it a couple of years ago. And
And
that
didn't we
basically,
forget halfway through to give them marks? Where we
uh,
ranted
last time.
last time. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. That sounds
This time we made sure we
absolutely.
gave marks every time.
That's the stuff that people listen to Edison Studies for. It's just starting on a format and completely forgetting about it. But that brings us to a wrap. DJ, I know it's late for you, so thanks for tuning in. For everybody who's listening, we're at One Tip One Hand on all the socials: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or X. I guess we have to call it X now, which is a discussion for another day.
X.
It's
Oh,
not called
okay.
Twitter anymore. Send us a message. We'd love to hear from you all. And we will be back next week to talk about presumably Jasprit Bumrah, skipper of Team India, as they tour Ireland and he makes his comeback. So stay tuned. We will be back next week. This has been the Edison's Latest Cricket Podcast.